Hello, welcome back to Moffett Field. Today I want to do a relatively short video on a modification of Sire Blood's Bloodbath map that he created for his Bloodbath rules. We'll be going to the Bloodbath in about 2 or 3 weeks here down in Laguna Hills. My brother and I will be playing. We finished 4th place last year, so hopefully we'll place higher. But we'll see. It's not an easy competition, 2 or 3 days of playing, probably 10 hours per day at least. But yeah, so this is version 2.7 of Sire Blood's map. And he was kind enough to share the file with me. So I've been working on it, making some modifications that help us with our 1939 version that we play, but I've also made some other modifications as well. So just to begin with, this map is 77 or so inches long and about 36 inches high. And the reason I printed on that size is because the board that we use underneath it, which is the original 1940 board that I had, is on that size, and it was printed on metal. But I didn't want to print on metal again because it's pretty pricey. It costs about $400 to print on this cold rolled steel. So I just printed it. The AlphaGraphics that I use in Sunnyvale recommended this banner material, and it's a lay flat material. So even if it's stored rolled, it will always lay flat. I think from what I've seen, some of the thicker vinyls don't roll out flat, and people have to put weights on them to keep them from curling up. So this material is pretty great, and it's thin also, so the magnets still stick through it to the metal board underneath. So as I mentioned, I made some modifications to the map. I mean, it's a great map already. I didn't want it to destroy it, but hopefully I made it easier for us to play our versions. And also, I don't like to put air bases and port markers on the map, so like the previous map that I had, I just kind of copied what they had in terms of these indicators. So you can see here, I added these to the map for port and air bases. And I also added these 1939 versions. Where is it? 1939. So in the version we play, there's a port in Samoa. There's a port in the Marianas. And then one thing Sire Blood did too as well, he added an air base in Okinawa. So I put BBR for BBR rules. And an air base in, where is it? Celebes. So BBR air base there. So there's a few others that I added for 1939. There's a air base up here in New Brunswick. I forgot the air base in Iceland, so my next printing of the map will have that. So we just use a marker or a 3D printed air base for that. Let's see, another thing that I did was add back the neutral indicators, because in the 1939 version, these aren't German yet. So Norway, Denmark, Holland, Hungary, Romania, Poland, those are still independent. I also added back in the Azores, excuse me, the Azores and the Canary Islands. Added those back in. Okay, so we've got the air bases, the ports. I also created this kind of these cheat icons here for the national objectives. Some of them are out of box, some of them are Bloodbath objectives. So these are out of box. The +12 is for France if it gets taken back by the French. +5, I think, if there's an American unit in French territory. And so as you can tell, the broken red circle is American. So for the Bloodbath rules down here, we have national objectives +1s for Italy. So that's their indicator. Because it's easy to forget. There's the cards, which are great too. So the cards correspond with these. But I wanted them on the map as well. So here's +2 for England on the right, +2 for Germany, +2 for Italy again in Iraq. Same for Iran, same for Northwest Iran. Then over in India, there's quite a few. There's a one-time event. The Japanese get 10 IPCs for taking Calcutta. They get +5 for every turn. And you can see it barely says their one-time event. Then there's the Chinese. So the Chinese need India, Burma, Yunnan, and Sichuan to be in control for them to get their national objective. And you can see that I also added the tank icons to show where the Japanese can bring in tanks under the Bloodbath rules. Looks like the board did scratch a little bit, but it's not that bad. I guess one could spray a coating on it, but I don't really bother with that. By the way, this printing cost about $70 to have it printed on this banner material. And I'll probably have another one printed after I make some more modifications to the map. I'm going to add all the NO objectives. I didn't add them all to this version. I didn't add all the out of box, let's say. Right, I added a few more cities, Changsha, some things like that. And there's another Japanese objective. The other thing I added for the reminder on the islands, because under the Bloodbath rules, if the Japanese control these islands, they get 3 extra IPCs. So I added those to the various islands like Midway, Guam, Wake. So it's easier to keep track of the Japanese extra IPCs. What else? I think that's about it. But in general, you can see this map is great. It's available for download. If you look at Sire Blood's videos, I think you can either purchase it, like a donation sort of thing, and get the file. It might be available. You'll have to check his videos and see how he's handling it these days. But I think it's a donation-based system, which is great because this map he put a lot of hours into this map. 2 years, I think, it's taken him in total. Oh, I know. The other thing I added was these IPC trackers. So there's one on the bottom for the allies because they pretty much sit at the bottom of the map. And then I added one for the Axis at the top, facing their direction, because the Axis typically sit on the north side of the map. So the same IPC tracker is on both sides, north and south sides of the map. And it just makes it easier that way, because then the Axis can see without having to ask where the marker is, and it's easier for them to track by themselves. And I also added a turn counter. So the old map had that as well, as you can see here. So I added that to the map because I don't have an awesome table like everybody or some other people have. So I like the stuff on the map. And I also added the victory point tracker to the turn tracker. So the Axis need 12 victory points, 13 victory points and 14 victory points on turns 8, 9, and 10 respectively. I think in the next version of the map I'm also going to add turn 3 and 4 when the Americans can enter and when the Russians can attack. So I think that pretty much wraps up the kind of Moffat Field version of Sire Blood's Bloodbath map. I would recommend getting it. I would recommend playing with the Bloodbath rules, especially if you want to finish the game in a day. We usually finish 8-10 hours. Sometimes our games stretch a little longer, but with this victory by turn 8 system that he has, it works pretty well. You don't have to play by that. You can still play by the other rules, but even playing on this map is a lot more fun, I think. It's just cleaner and just looks great. So that's about it. If you have any questions on the map, just leave a comment and I'll get back to you. So I guess that's a wrap. Take care and talk to you soon.